Jeffrey Epstein did not start as a billionaire. He did not come from political power. He did not inherit influence. He grew up middle class in Brooklyn, the son of a city parks worker, and he never finished college. That matters. Because the story people often tell is that Epstein was always powerful, that he was always protected, that what happened was inevitable. It was not. Hello, welcome back to Smart AF, the show where we cut through the noise and give you the facts, straight up. In the early 1970s, Epstein gets a job teaching math at an elite private school in Manhattan. He does not have the formal qualifications for it, but he is confident, socially fluent, and good at impressing the right people. One of the parents at that school connects him to finance. That is how it starts. Not with brilliance, with proximity. Epstein enters the world of high net worth money management, not as a star trader, not as a public success story. He positions himself close to wealth and influence. Here is the first pattern. Epstein does not sell results, he sells access. By the 1980s and 1990s, he tells people he manages money for billionaires. He rarely lists clients publicly. He cultivates mystery instead. And that opacity becomes a feature, not a flaw. What we know for a fact is this. Epstein aggressively socialized with the ultra-wealthy, politicians, academics, and royalty. He hosted, he funded, he connected people. He positioned himself as a facilitator inside elite networks. What we do not have is a transparent financial record that clearly explains his wealth at scale. And that is important, because when investigators and journalists look at Epstein's finances, the real question is not, was he rich? The question is, why was he trusted? And the answer is not genius. It is usefulness. Now we get to harm. Epstein was convicted of sex offenses involving minors. Those crimes are established facts. They are not allegations. And they are not separate from how he maintained power. Because harm creates leverage. That is the uncomfortable part. Epstein's social circle included people who should have known better. Some almost certainly did know better. Others may have suspected and chosen not to ask questions. Silence is not always ignorance. Sometimes it is a transaction. At this point, people usually ask the same questions. First, how did he even get close to people like this? The answer is boring. He went where powerful people already were. Elite schools, private dinners, fundraisers, academic institutions. Epstein did not crash gates. He entered through introductions. Elite networks are referral-based, not merit-based. Once one trusted person vouches for you, skepticism drops fast. Second question. Why would powerful people associate with him if he was a nobody? Because in elite spaces, usefulness matters more than origin. Epstein offered introductions, money, planes, properties, access to other powerful people. He made himself convenient, and convenience lowers defenses. You do not have to be impressive, you have to be useful. Third question. Why would anyone allow themselves to be photographed, emailed, or documented? Because boundaries rarely collapse all at once. They erode gradually. A dinner becomes a trip becomes routine, and status reduces perceived risk. Powerful people often believe rules apply to others, until they do not. Fourth question. Why did no one stop him earlier? Some people tried. There were reports, there were complaints, there were victims who spoke. But systems do not respond to harm alone. They respond to pressure. And pressure weakens when the victim is young, the perpetrator is connected, and accountability is inconvenient. Silence is not always agreement. Sometimes it is exhaustion. Fifth question. Did Epstein make money directly from trafficking? There is no public evidence that sex trafficking was a traditional revenue stream. What the evidence suggests is something else. The abuse functioned as leverage, not a business model. Power does not always extract money. Sometimes it extracts protection. Sixth question. Why did powerful friends not save him in the end? Because power protects you only while you are useful. By 2019, Epstein was no longer an asset. He was a liability. And systems do not rescue liabilities. They isolate them. This does not require conspiracy. It requires incentives. Finally, people fixate on how Epstein died. But what matters more than how Epstein died is what was never properly examined while he was alive. how he made his money, who opened doors for him, why earlier warnings were ignored, why his connections mattered more than the harm he caused. Epstein was not a one-off monster who slipped through the cracks. His case tested whether powerful systems would investigate themselves. They did not. And that is the real failure. Thanks for listening. If you know someone who needs this info, please share this video with them. If you found this interesting, a thumbs up and subscribe would mean a lot. And tap the bell so you never miss an update. Disclaimer: this episode reflects my personal analysis and interpretation of publicly available information. It is intended for educational and commentary purposes only and does not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice.